Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Fietta. Welcome to today's Silver Science Study Update. Today we're going to be talking about a study that investigates the impact of social isolation on those affected by dementia. Earlier this year, we began to investigate the impact of COVID-19 related social isolation and shutdown measures on individuals with dementia and their informal caregivers. While these measures were put into place to help mitigate the spread of COVID-19 and to help protect the vulnerable, in many situations it also meant that caregivers were no longer able to be with or speak to their loved ones in person. So we wanted to look a little bit deeper into the impact of this situation. We wanted to know how this was affecting the care provided to those with dementia who were residing in care facilities or who were hospitalized. And we also wanted to look a little closer at how the situation was affecting the mental health of caregivers. Lastly, we wanted to investigate how smartphones and or tablets were being used to communicate when people couldn't be together in person. Was it helpful? Was it confusing and stressful? Was it even possible in cases of more severe dementia? Today's study update is going to be given in the context of 3 general steps. First, collecting the data. Second of all, analyzing the data. And lastly, reporting the data. So today's update, in a nutshell, is that we finished collecting our data. How we did this was by sending out a 10-question survey to a number of different groups. We wanted to hear from any caregiver who wanted their voice to be heard. And so we had a target number of surveys we needed people to complete, and I'm excited to say we actually got more than we were looking for. So our next step will be to analyze the data. We're going to give you a little bit of insight into how we plan on doing this. So the first thing we'll do is descriptive statistics to literally describe our data. We collected our data via a survey with 10 questions. So we'll look at each of those questions and we might ask things like, which question had the most responses versus the least? What was the average response to each question? Or what was the highest versus the lowest rating for each question? And just look a little bit deeper at what our data looks like. The second thing that we want to look at, how different things that we asked about impacted the mental health of the caregiver. We'll do this using a linear regression. With a linear regression, you look at the relationships of different variables to an outcome of interest. Let's say that we get a group of 100 people and look at whether or not those who say they play sports have better heart health than those who don't. When we analyze our data, we find that yes, those who play sports have better heart health. With this, we can see a positive relationship between playing sports and health. But that's not the whole story. With a linear regression, you're able to consider other variables. For instance, the type of sport may influence how much playing affects health. Time of year that we collect our data may also matter. Some sports are played more in the spring versus fall. These other variables can influence the extent to which playing sports impacts a participant's heart health. Now, it's important to note that teasing out the influence of other variables doesn't mean that our primary variable is no longer important. In fact, in this case, it's still the most important factor. If one of the people we surveyed doesn't engage in sports, it really doesn't matter which sport that we're looking at or what time of year it is. All of this is to say that we'll be looking into the influence of several different variables to better, more thoroughly assess how isolation has impacted dementia caregivers. I'm Dr. Julie Fietta. This research is done through Université Laval and the Cirrus Research Center. Thank you for joining us on today's Silver Science Study Update.